I am so excited for this next project, and I think you will be too. Let me tell you why. Number one, we are repurposing part of the house that we demoed back in, I don't know, a year ago. And number two, I've literally never seen this done before, which could be awesome, but it could also be a disaster. I'm gonna go ahead and assume it's gonna be great. Here's what we're gonna be doing. In amongst all the craziness of our basement, we have these French doors. Now these French doors used to live between what used to be our office and the living room, but now they've just been living in our basement for about the last year. We're gonna take these doors and we're gonna completely repurpose them and make them into something beautiful. This is my inspiration for these doors. Now, our inspiration photo actually comes from a company that did our original glass barn doors, but a second set of statement barn doors is just not in the budget. And we already have these beautiful French doors, so let's reuse them, upcycle them, and make something gorgeous. Now to start, we're gonna get them upstairs, get them sanded, get them all prepped, and then we're gonna bring them back down here and we're gonna do all of the work inside. It's getting a little chilly here in Maryland, so I don't wanna risk anything happening to the paint job while we're going through the process. So I'm gonna keep them in a neutral environment and just make sure that nothing happens to them. So what are we waiting for? Let's go get started. I start by taking all of the hardware off the doors. This includes the hinges and the doorknobs. I got really lucky with these doors because, as you probably know, most doors have a hole where the doorknob typically sits. What I didn't notice about these is there is no latch, which means the doorknobs were really just handles that were screwed on. It saved me a ton of time not having to patch a hole. Next, the full door got an initial sanding. For covering up the door hinges, nail holes, and scratches, I'm using Bondo. Bondo dries fast and hard and is sandable and paintable. It also means you have to work really fast. Start by scooping some of the putty out onto a disposable surface. Then add the hardening cream and mix well. Quickly apply your putty to your surface. The putty is going to dry really quickly and then it's unusable. This seems to go even faster in cold air. I also went ahead and cleaned the glass of all the old paint using a knife and scraper. After the doors were sanded again until the Bondo was smooth, I moved them downstairs for painting. Since they likely haven't been painted for years, I went ahead and used a primer. All right, everything is primed. We did a little light sanding just to rough it up a little bit so the paint really sticks to it. And now we've wiped everything down and we're ready for a paint. Now I know what you're thinking. What paint color could she possibly choose? Guys, if you don't know me by now, we are 100% going with the black satin. So let's get into it. The doors ended up taking 3 coats of paint for full coverage. Okay, the day is finally here and I finally get to show you why I've been so excited about this project the whole time. I know what you're thinking. Cool, we're just making some doors, we've painted them and we're gonna put them up. No, we're gonna take this to a completely different level. But before I show you exactly what makes this project so special, let me show you what we've done. Some paint did seep under the tape, so I went back through it and cleaned up the edges again with the knife. Then I retaped the doors to prep the glass for the final paint job. All right, are you ready to see why this project's gonna be so fun? We're making these doors mirrored. So a couple important rules for using this that I've learned. Number one, your glass has to be spotless. So I started by taking all of the extra paint that I got along the edges when I was painting the doors and scraped it off. Number two, I needed to Windex everything. So I probably Windexed each piece of glass like 6 times because any spot that you have on that glass before we spray paint is going to be there forever. So that needs to be spotless glass. And number 3, I took a terry cloth towel and wiped down the glass, which, let's be honest, I'm gonna do again to avoid any fingerprints or last minute pieces of dust that have fallen, because again, if there is a fingerprint on the dust beforehand, it'll be there forever. And if you plan on committing any crimes in the future, you don't want your fingerprint sitting on the door. I mean, not that we're gonna be committing. I gotta go. All right, let's do it. coat is done, I'm probably gonna need to do this about 5 times total, maybe 4, we'll see. But they're going on very light, and I bought a lot of this spray paint just to make sure that I cover it completely. So we're gonna let this dry for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'll be back down and we'll do a bunch more coats. All right, so we're about to do coat 3, but let's see what it looks like before we do it. All right, here we go. Got definitely a little bit of mirroring to it, but I can still see my hand, so we definitely need some more. All right, guys, are you ready? Moment of truth. Now, this is something that I did not tell you during this entire process. The mirror is on the back. So everything that we've been seeing is the back of the mirror, and everything underneath is the mirror. So let's see what it looks like. Oh my god. Guys, this is paint. Paint did this. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh. Finally came installation day. I got this barn door kit off Amazon and followed the instructions to install. If you remember from last week, we have the header built into the wall already. Otherwise, I would have had to install that first. So for this project, we are actually going to be using a bolt, and this is the bolt that came with the installation kit. There are a couple of new tools that you're going to need to go along with the bolt. The first one is this drill bit. When choosing a size for a drill bit, you want to put them head to head, and the drill bit should be slightly smaller than the bolt itself. So basically how it works is the drill bit will go in, it'll create an entry hole for your bolt, and then when you put the bolt in, it should still be tight. So you want to have a nice tight fit, which is why this needs to be a little bit smaller. The second thing we're going to need is a socket wrench. Now, a socket wrench comes in 2 different pieces. You have the wrench part, and then you have the socket. And the way you install it, you push this little button, and it clips right in. Right is to tighten, left is to loosen. And when you're looking for the right size socket wrench, it's pretty simple. If it fits in and it makes that noise, then you're good to go. If it's too big, obviously it won't fit in. If it's too small, then it's gonna be all wishy-washy within here. So that's how you know how to pick a good one. The final step was to install the rollers and handles to the door. For this, I drilled holes into the door and then used my socket wrench to secure the hardware in place. Check out the final product. Thank you for following along. I hope you love these doors as much as I do. Honestly, they turned out exactly as I envisioned them, and I could not be more happy. Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow more projects like this on our channel. I think I'm gonna go check out my closet. See you guys later.